You can't set your radio dial on 6:30 a.m. and hear what's being broadcast on 98.7 FM. The frequencies have to match up. And you can't desire more money and have your frequency set on not enough money and have your frequencies match up. And so if you want more money but you're worried about not having enough money, you're sending contradictory signals and your signal is not clear. And when your signal is not clear, you have much slower response to the signal. When you clean up your signal so that you're sending only one signal, now you have powerful power of influence. And that really is the best description that we are able to give you of what the art of allowing really is about. It's the art of allowing yourself right here, right now, by virtue of whatever you're giving your attention to offer a vibration that is compatible with the vibration of your source. Now we want to talk for just a minute here about what kind of signals would be compatible with your source. Let's start with the way source feels about you. You are seen as worthy and capable. That's how source sees you. When you see yourself as not worthy or not capable, you've got a contradictory vibration going on. And the emotion that you might describe would be one of despair or one of guilt, one of not enoughness. And the reason that you feel that negative emotion is because you're choosing to see yourself in a perspective that is so different from how you are seen by source that you have set up a vibrational incompatibility within yourself. You may have heard people talking about you need to clean up your vibration, or I'm going to align my energies. And we want you to understand that the process of aligning energies is a much simpler process than most of you are making it out to be. It simply means focus right now in the way that I can feel the best possible way. When you reach for the best feeling thought you can find, not the best thought you've ever thought or the best thought anybody else has ever thought, just the best feeling thought you can find right now, you begin to close the gap between you and you. We want you to understand that you are physical beings in these physical bodies. That's clear for all of you to see. But what you really are is vibration expressing here in this physical time-space reality. So we want you to realize that as the vibrational being that you are, that when you are offering a signal that matches who you really are, you feel the alignment of that in something that just feels wonderful. And when you are focused in any moment and you are not a vibrational match to who you really are, you feel the misalignment of that by the not so good way that you feel. But this is the thing that we so much want you to remember. You are the creator of your own experience. When you ask, it is given. When your contrast causes you to want something, source becomes utterly and completely in agreement with it. The reason that we want you to know that is because the evolution of all species is because of that very fact. And when you think about it, who better than you to conclude from where you stand what you prefer? Who could possibly make that decision more accurately than you, standing right here in your body, having all of the experiences that you're having? Do you think your government could decide better for you? Do you think a church could decide better for you, or your mother? Does anyone know the facts of your life? Does anyone know who you were before you came into this body? Does anyone know the intentions that you held? Does anyone know all of the days of all of your lives that you've been living, and all of the days of this life, all of the arguments, all of the compliments, all of the exposure to all of the experience? Could anyone possibly know what desires you've given birth to? Only you, only the energy that is within you. Now, let's say that you are the one-celled organism in the ocean and you are having your experience. Don't you think that from your vantage point that your preferences should be considered in relationship to the evolution of that which is you? That which man has been calling God is evolving through the day-to-day experiences that which is you, which we are also calling God, is having. When you have exposure to something, If someone is rude to you, you want people to be nicer. If you're rude to someone, you want to be nicer. If you don't have enough money, you want more money. If things are going wrong, you want them to go right. If you have an unanswered question, you want answers. In other words, it's a constant process of having exposure to experience which is causing you to ask. And when you do, Source says, you ought to know. No one knows better for you, because you and every other specimen in this conscious universe, which includes everything, is selfishly oriented to know what is best for self. And what must be best for the whole, for the great big giant self, which is the accumulated consciousness of all of us, what must be best for the whole has to be the combination of what is best for the individual inquiries or preferences or desires. Well, that's it for our sales job, folks, because when you ask, it is given. We're not kidding you. That is a given. And whether you ever understand it or not, it is the basis of the way you feel in every moment. And we see you sometimes not having faith in wellness waiting for you, or not having faith in the abundance being there. And we're wanting you to understand it is there, and your source is there with it, and your source is there knowing it, seeing it fully. Let's just talk about dollars. The accumulation of wealth that you have waiting for you is astronomical by Earth standards. And Source is there feeling it because you've been adding to it incrementally every day of your life. There's a pile of money there waiting for you, folks. And Source is there beckoning you toward it. And when you feel that joyful romping, you're on the path. But when you're ornery, you've slowed it down. But Source never stops beckoning you, and this is the thing that we want you to start listening for. We want you to start listening for the beckoning of Source. But there's one thing that you have to understand about it. The beckoning of Source always feels good. It feels like love. It feels like appreciation. It feels like joy. If you're feeling something that feels like worry and criticism, it's not Source, it's your mother. And many of you are not listening for the beckoning anyway. You're trying to outrun the villain. So many times you're running away from what you don't want rather than listening for the beat of what you do want. And the thing that we want you to get is that the beat of what you do want is always beating, and it is the loudest drum in the universe. It's a drum that's saying you are worthy, and you are well, and you are brilliant, and you are delightful, and it is yours, and it must be, and all is well. It is the drum that says life is supposed to be good, and you are supposed to be living it. And we're here to remind you of that because we see you for all kinds of unbelievable reasons holding yourself apart from the well-being that you so want and so deserve. And so that's why we always start these gatherings by asking the question, are you enjoying the contrast of your time and place? Because the contrast is what fills your vibrational escrow full of the stuff that you uniquely want. It's the way that you precisely create your own reality. But what we want to point out to you is that while you are doing a wonderful job of exploring contrast, just like you knew you would, and while you are doing a wonderful job, because you can't stop yourself from doing it, of launching rockets of desire into your vibrational escrow, and while Source is doing a wonderful job of seeing your vision and seeing your dream and knowing it and standing by it and adding all of the energy and all of the resources of Source, we like that combining of words, the resources of Source, the infinite resources of Source are there with your desire, being managed and set up for you, orchestrated in precision by law of attraction with anyone and everyone who will help you to accommodate it. While all of that has taken place, now all you must do is trust and believe in the laws of the universe and utilize your own guidance system to bring yourself incrementally and eventually and consistently into vibrational alignment with the things that you're asking for. And as you do that, those who watch you will stand in amazement. They will begin to notice that you are someone who launches an idea softly and stands in eager anticipation of it, exclaiming as circumstances and events give you constant evidence. And they will also begin to recognize you as those who are not one bit impatient about what has not yet come, because there is so much that is consistently coming that your plate is always full. They will begin to notice you as those who are satisfied where you are and eager for more. They will notice you as those who are exploring contrast just like everyone else, launching rockets of desire just like everyone else, but deliberately trying to see the best of where you stand, playing the positive what-if game, looking for reasons to feel good, trying your best to feel as good as you can feel right where you stand, because you have discovered long ago that when you make the worst of it, you move in the opposite direction of what you're wanting. And when you make the best of it, you move in the direction of what you are wanting. We've written a book called Ask and It Is Given. Wonderful title. And it is full of processes. We feel sorry for any of you who attempt all of them. We're eternal spewers of processes. But every process that we offer is with one intention in mind, to help you close that vibrational gap between who you are allowing yourself to be in this moment and who you really are. And so let's say that something has happened. It's been happening for a while. You've been focusing upon it, and you feel a strong sense of fear, even despair. And you want to feel bliss. Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss. And we say, best words we've ever heard come out of a human mouth. But we also notice that when you're in despair, you can't even get a whiff of bliss. And if you set bliss as your goal, you can't find it, and so then you think something's wrong with you. And we say, follow your bliss, but stop off in revenge for a while. Because you have access to revenge while you don't have access to bliss. And you or your friend, if you made the movement from despair into revenge or rage or anger, you'd know personally that it's a better place for you because you feel better. In despair, in grief, in fear, you can hardly breathe. In revenge, you're breathing again. When you move up the emotional scale, you come closer to who you really are. And if you can make it into revenge, then you can make it into anger. And if you can make it into anger, then you can make it into overwhelmment and frustration. And if you can make it into frustration, you can make it into believing. And if you can make it into believing, you can make it into knowing. We would much rather that you be optimistic than pessimistic. We'd much rather that you find the better feeling emotion. But we're wanting you to understand you're the one who's got to feel it. And only you can know if it feels better for you. The next thing that we want you to decide, if you really want to get good at utilizing your own guidance system, is that you're going to pay attention to the way you feel, and you're going to factor out how everybody else feels about the way you feel. Because when you try to factor in how they feel about the way you feel, now you've introduced impossible things for you to consider. Because you don't know their motives, you can't understand who they are, you don't really know what they want or why they want it. You don't have the ability to consider somebody else's guidance system, only your own. And the beautiful thing about considering your own is that you have incrementally given the information to Source one experience at a time, so that Source knows you so much better than you could even consciously articulate yourself. Because Source was involved in every conversation. Source saw every desire squirt out of you. Source saw your disappointments with yourself and others. Source saw your disappointment with your circumstances. And out of all of those experiences came your finely tuned, leading edge picture of what life would be better in the evolved you that you are becoming. Do you get this? You didn't come forth as a perfect being. You didn't come forth because God is perfect and finished. You came forth as an extension of that which man calls God for the joy of expansion. You're always going to be living life in this crack. The way you manage your life is about that, because you will always want something just beyond what is fully manifested. That's why you and we can continue to be eternal. So when you make peace with the incompletion, when you relax in knowing that it's always going to be evolving and increasing and getting better and better, instead of beating up on yourself because there is a gap between something that you want and where you are, now you're home free. One other thing we want to say to you is that sometimes we can feel impatience here. And there's never a reason for impatience when you have knowledge of how to close the gap. You only need to be patient if you don't know how to close the gap. Some of you say, I've wanted this for 20 years and I'm trying to be patient. And we say, Oh, for heaven's sakes, don't be patient. Close the gap. In other words, if it hasn't come quickly, and we're not talking about years, we're not talking about months, we're not talking about weeks, we're talking about days. Anything that you want should evolve nearly as quickly as you can conceive of it. If you are in a position where this environment has inspired within you an idea, it's as good as done. If you can conceive of the idea, you can have the manifestation. You don't need a long time in the crack.